Yeah, today was kind of unusual for me. My clients asked me to cook breakfast for their grandkids, so I got to the house around 6:30 in the morning, and they wanted some pancakes and bacon. I've worked a couple brunch shifts in my day, and the way I used to cook bacon for service was to use two sheet trays with parchment paper in between and lay out my bacon, get that into a 400-degree oven for about 20 minutes. This will give you a nice crispy and flat bacon. Making a classic buttermilk pancake batter with flour, sugar, baking powder, and salt. Then for the wet ingredients, I use buttermilk, egg, vanilla, and some melted butter. Combine the wet and the dry, starting with a whisk, then switching to a spatula, making sure not to overmix, or else your pancakes are going to turn out chewy. I prefer to do pancakes on a griddle, but since I don't have one here, I'm using the two-pan method. Just cooking the pancakes mostly in one pan, then flipping straight into another to yield a nice and perfectly circled pancake. I also made some chocolate chip and blueberry pancakes, laid them all out so everyone that works here can serve themselves. They also requested some fried chicken today for lunch. I made a lot of fried chicken in my day, and the ratio I like to use for a dredge is 3 parts flour to 2 parts starch, and 3% salt for the total weight of the dredge. I also use 2% baking powder to make it extra light and crispy. I use a scale for this, so for example, if you're using 300 grams of flour, you'd use 200 grams of starch, such as cornstarch, tapioca starch, or potato starch. Today I'm using tapioca starch, so that's 500 grams total of dredge, so I'll need 3% salt, which is 15 grams. Then I use 2% of whatever other seasonings I want to use. Today I'm using white pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, and a little bit of poultry seasoning. This all might sound a little confusing, but using ratios like this makes it really easy to scale recipes. And for me, it's just a lot easier to remember. I make a wet dredge with some milk, eggs, and a little bit of my dry dredge. My chicken has been brining overnight, and I dip my chicken first into the dry, then the wet, then back to the dry. I let the flour hydrate for about 5 minutes before my first fry. First, I fry my chicken at 325 degrees. Then when I'm ready to serve, I fry it again at 350 degrees to get it extra crispy. My clients like it served with mashed potatoes and peas, which is kind of boring to me, but that's part of the job, so what are you going to do?